Joining us today is Peter Clausi, the VP of Capital Markets at Silver Bullet Mines. Peter, always good to be speaking. How are you?
Extremely busy. We've got a lot going on.
Good. Excellent. Well, let's catch up on the news you put out recently. This is on the Washington mine. You've confirmed that phase 1 completion. You're now starting the phase 2, which is focusing on that Subrosa Adit, opening it up and really getting a bulk sample from it. So what are we thinking here in terms of timelines to getting into that adit there?
So historically, this was a gold mine. Nobody wanted silver at 70 cents. So the engineers at the time blocked out where the 70-cent silver was and marked it over there. There's about 100, according to historical estimates, there's 120,000 tons of silver starting at 30 ounces a ton and up to 90 ounces a ton. Now, Bonanza silver is colloquially thought of as starting at 30 ounces a ton, and that's where our grades start. We have a lot of faith in the Stoker report. I agree with you, it's not 43-101 compliant, and it would need some work to make it compliant, so readers are cautioned. However, all the data that we've pulled to date confirms the Stoker report, so we have a fair bit of faith in it. Added to that is a sprinkling of gold, like pepper in a paella. So not only do we have the silver, we have a sprinkling of gold. So we are fairly confident that 120,000 tons is mineralized.
And that's the Stoker report. We've talked about that before, and I think there was debate whether you were actually going to bother to bring it up to a modern standard or just go for it if the grades were looking good.
We've always been careful to use the proper disclaimers around it. It's not a 43-101 report. I don't know how the data was gathered. I don't know where the assays were processed. So there would be a lot of work needed to bring it up to 43-101 standards. We're relying it internally to help guide our decision making, and to date, the data that we have compiled corresponds with what is in the Stoker report.
Okay, yeah. So can we talk to timelines at all, what the team are thinking to getting into that area and then making that bulk sample?
Sure. We have a contract miner who has started with phase 2, which means they're down the adit, they're making it safe, they're painting the timber with that fireproof paint, which is painfully expensive, because safety is job one, right? It's nice to get the material out, but make it safe for the team first. Following that, they begin the extraction. We're hoping they'll get up to 50 tons a day of material for a bulk sample out of that area. The question then becomes, what do you do with the material? And we're of two minds right now. We have a proposal from a local mill, which we are evaluating, and possibly we could bring in one of our own mills, set it up there, and process the material on site. The problem with that, of course, is there's an uncertain tariff situation in the United States. So we're not certain what the cost of that or the timing would be, or if the cost would change once orders were placed. So we're making these decisions internally.
Right. Okay. Well, that was something I was going to ask on your mill. So you're working on, you're sort of discussing that at the moment. So the plan would be to get that bulk sample and then we'll get it milled somewhere and see what you've got, really. Would that be the main thing?
Right. We've even discussed trucking it a couple of thousand miles down to our mill in Arizona. I don't think that's economic. It just doesn't work out. So we're looking at local mills as our first option, I think.
Okay, so Arizona could be used as an initial, just to see what you've got, but it's not a long-term solution.
Well, we have so much material coming into Arizona from the Super Champ and the KT mine. I don't know when we'd get around to processing this.
Sure. Yeah. Okay. So then, once you've got that bulk sample, then what would it be a case of actually producing a concentrate, seeking buyers? What would be the path to making this work?
All of that would happen at the same time. But what the buyers would want to see is a multi-element analysis on what's in that material. It's nice that there's silver. It's nice that there's gold. It's nice there's copper. But they want to see if there's anything deleterious in there that will act as a debit against us. Is there uranium? Is there mercury? Is there arsenic? And is there lead? Because lead is a valuable mineral and is still being processed as a byproduct of other mine sites. So once we have that multi-element analysis on the con from the Washington mine in Idaho, then we'll be able to enter into negotiations with buyers. Don't forget.
So is it fair to say then that Washington is basically where Superchamp was a few months ago?
That's fair to say. we've tried to make Idaho a turnkey operation. We didn't want to get stretched extremely thin by sending a team up there, so that's why we have the contract miner doing the work.
Yeah.
Our CEO is in contact with the contract miner almost every day, so we know what's going on up there.
Good. Well, if I can just finish off on Superchamp just briefly, I think the press release did just mention the ongoing multi-element analysis, which you've just mentioned as well, that would happen for Washington. We're still waiting on that then. We're still waiting for that moment, waiting for that check.
Yeah, we're waiting for Godot. It's frustrating because it's out of our control, but this happens every time gold has a run. Every prospector, every developer that has a project that has a few flakes of gold runs out to the property, grabs a couple of samples and sends them into the lab and jams up the labs. And even if you pay rush, the lab is still jammed and they'll get to you when they get to you. We need that multi-element analysis for the buyer. Don't forget, we have a buyer for that concentrate. We have signed a contract, but the next step is we have to show the buyer that multi-element analysis so we can figure out what's the gross economic value of the shipment. Like, not every bag of concentrate will have the same value. So we have to figure out the value of the shipment, and then we will be paid.
Okay. Well, we have to wait on that, as always. I'm waiting very much for that and waiting for that interview when you do the check.
You'll get a phone call and a very hysterical email saying, Mark, get online. We got a check.
Absolutely. I'm looking forward to it.
Me too.
Is Superchamp, is it running all the time? Is it constantly producing?
Not constantly producing. The field team is also at the KT mine, extracting material from there because the gold values that came out of there were shockingly high. So if you can pull $75,000 a ton material or $20,000 a ton material, it's pretty easy to decide what material you're going to pull.
Sure. Yeah. Good. Well, thank you very much, as always, for your time. Peter Clausi, VP of Capital Markets at Silver Bullet Mines.
Thanks, Mark.
If you enjoyed this interview, then give us a thumbs up, a like, or a retweet. Subscribe to us on YouTube or follow us on Twitter and hit that notification bell to be the first to know when we release new content. There's loads of great content on our website too, across all our programs at StockBoxMedia.com. Thank you for watching.